Good afternoon. I'm going to call this session of the Board of Revision to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Our panel today is composed of Lynn Nesbitt, who's right to my left, Laurie Davidson, who's farthest to my left. My name is Harvey Diamond. The City Assessment Department is represented by Matthew Harling, and our secretary today is Kara Balshaw. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rules in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision have been requested are described in each application. We will limit discussion to those matters. And the statements that the applicants or the assessor make at this testimony must be sworn testimony. And everybody giving evidence must be sworn in. Be advised that we do not accept comparative assessments, as we do not consider them as evidence. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council, and we are independent of it and the City Administration. We make our decisions on the basis of the evidence that we hear, and we issue written orders that we send to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that our decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to an application for exemption from taxation. And should a party wish to appeal, the matter and how to do so will be included with our order. With respect to the hearing process, we'll confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by any questions that the applicant may have. The assessor will then give his testimony, followed by any questions that may be asked again of him. Once all the evidence and application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The person will repeat for each matter on the docket today. And after all applications have been heard, we will adjourn, deliberate in private, and we'll return our decisions, which we send by written mail as soon as possible. The information today is being recorded and live streamed and will form a public record. Thank you.
Do you want to swear in?
I swear.
Please state your name.
Yeah, Ms. Laura?
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Which one you first?
Do you swear? Yeah. Please state your name.
Jeff Badger.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Harling, our first matter is 1780 Ellis Avenue, and I see you have non-cooperation on that.
Yes, we do have a preliminary requesting the
You
property.
want to deal with that first?
Yeah, we'll do that first.
Yeah.
So yes, you state,
I acknowledge.
Okay, well, if you acknowledge it, then you can go first. Then
I have no,
you know the
I
situation.
have no dispute.
Okay, we'll let you proceed then, Mr. Badger.
Oh, okay. Now you caught me off guard. I'm going to rely on the income approach to the evaluation. Take a look at I don't need to go into I guess maybe I'll just briefly talk about some of the details. The property is 1780 Ellis Avenue. I didn't get the address wrong, did I?
no, you're right, 1780, yeah.
Okay, just because you're going first, if you would, just for the record, read the roll number
Okay.
and the address.
The roll number is 0702265700. The file number,
No, just the address. You can.
okay. And the address is 1780 Ellis Avenue, and we're here today on the 2020 Realty Assessment Application for Revision.
Thank you, Mr. Badger.
I see I did carry something over here. My only argument today is the assessed value. This property, it's a larger property, consists of two separate buildings. There's a building up on the frontage of Ellis and Berry Avenue, which is approximately 11,960 square feet. Then there's another building at the back end of the property, which is approximately, I think I got my figures wrong. The two properties, the building in the front is about 11,980 square feet. The properties in the back, the building in the back is 11,300 square feet. The property in the front is a former Bank of Montreal building. It's been vacant for at least six years. Right now, they had moved out. The back end of the building is occupied by B.A. Robinson. They're in the plumbing business, electrical business. The back end building, approximately half of it has been vacant for about the last 10 to 12 years. At one time, half of it had been, or close to half it had been occupied by someone who had to grow up in the space, and because of some of the damage that it caused, the individual owns the property, hasn't been able to lease the property out, and he hasn't spent any money to upgrade it. The building in the front, the Bank of Montreal building, still has all the improvements from the bank. They're still all intact there. The building in the back is original, it's never been upgraded. There's no insulation in the walls other than insulation that might have been poured into the concrete block walls. And there's very little insulation in the roof deck. It was built back in the 60s, and there's really nothing much has been done to it. The only thing I want to say, from my perspective, there's been a real estate agent has been advertising the premises in the front for the last 5 years. He's a member of the Winnipeg Real Estate Board, but they haven't had any takers. Part of the reason is because the building is pushed up to the street. And generally speaking, a lot of retail buildings in that area will have a parking lot in the front, and the building's pushed back a little bit to make it convenient for people to run in and out. That's probably the reason why the bank was one of the reasons why they did, moved from the site, because of the poor parking situation, because you'd have to walk down a couple hundred feet to the parking lot in the back. There is some parking in the front, but it's very limited. It's only single loaded on an angle basis. Yeah, single loaded means that there's only like one row, so there's only parking for about, what, 8 cars in the front?
Yeah, it was pretty, that's about probably in that range, yeah.
But anyways, I'm basically here today, on my last sheet, you'll see I did a bit of a performa there. I don't have any, I got the assessor's evaluation. I don't, make sure I got this all, I'm basically in agreement with the assessor's rate for the building in the front. The building in the back, the assessor has used $6.75 across the board for both buildings. The building in the back, the assessor has used an average figure of $6.75. I'm using $4.35, which is the actual rent that the gentleman is paying with the auto shop dealership there. The only other dispute I have is the vacancy factor. The assessor has used 15% because it's been chronically vacant. I'm recommending that we use 25%. I have a decision from the last time we were here, and this particular board here allowed a 25% vacancy factor on it, which I could hand out if you'd wish to see it.
You know, what happened last time doesn't really matter if
Okay.
they could have had a very different vacancy
Okay.
2 years ago.
Nothing's happened
Well, you'll tell us that.
since then, so my suggestion is we should use the same vacancy factor as the last go around.
Well, you question that, okay?
25%
And you're indicating then that, how many tenants are there right now?
2, but another one's given notice that he's moving out. So that would put it down to about 20, less around 24% occupancy in the whole.
Because you're saying it's 76% unoccupied, or will be once he.
Well, right now,
Once he
it's over 50% unoccupied right now. That's gonna go down to about 25%.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have any qualms on the shortfall rate. I'm sorry, the assessor used 375, I'm using 475 in my analysis, the shortfall rate. I'm using this, I have no qualms about the capitalization rate. So applying that, the 25%, the rents that I mentioned up above, the shortfall rate of 475 rather than 375, and using the same cap as the assessor, that gives you a capitalized value of just over $902,000. So I'm asking you today to reduce the assessed value from the wages right now to $902,000.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Just some questions, like I know that the portion of the building, the back buildings where they had the grow up, So like the offset space, like, it's, like, they're not, not trying to lease it out this time, correct, I guess? Just to,
Yeah.
so like, and there's no, the property owner doesn't have any intention of potentially remediating it or fixing the area potentially to lease it out?
No, because we're doing some major work on it to do that.
Okay, yeah, no, so I guess there was no kind of like, 'cause I don't know I know I saw the condition except inspection, but there was no actual like, I guess, study done or anything, like nothing to check the current condition of it, I guess, or,
No.
okay. That's all the questions I have, then.
Okay, Ms. Davidson, any questions?
Just a couple. So, just so I'm clear, so there's two tenants right now, Robinson's and Shaw Auto?
Yes.
Okay, so I understand now who's in it and the vacancy rate you've explained. So other than that, you mentioned some things that were building problems, like you mentioned insulation, was there anything else? Like in terms of the actual
The,
building areas,
the-
parking and insulation?
Parking's a site condition
Okay.
issue. And I did mention that right now, that they've been trying to lease the building as is in the front end, which it's a better condition, but it's got the bank improvements there, like a solid vault, and their fancy ceilings that's falling down, it's being, water leaks, and the roof is leaking, it's been leaking. There's some damage to the ceiling tiles. The back building is an older structure, it's never really been touched since day one. That Shaw Auto's been in there for the last 25 years. The other portion of that building there, the other 6,000 square feet, has basically been empty for at least 10, 12 years, and that's where they had the grow up.
Okay.
So that building is just, it's an old, sort of industrial warehouse building where it's just concrete block with no insulation strapped in the inside, just bare concrete block on both sides, the front and the back. But they did apply some insulation in between the concrete block where there's some shafts. That's just the way the technology back in the 60s. The windows are rotten in the front. You can probably poke your, they're not broken, but you can probably poke your finger through the window frames. But because of the grow up situation, they'd have to check for mold and all these kind of issues before you can bring someone back in. And the mechanicals is, I know the Shaw guy, because of the cost, he uses old oil from servicing these cars to heat the place. You can see evidence of black coming out of the heating ducts in his side there. So it's an important condition, basically.
Okay, thank you very much, those are all my questions.
Citizens, do you have any questions?
I do. This is a question about your shortfall rate. You're using 4.75, the assessor's model is 3.75, which is applied, I think, fairly consistently across the city. But can you give me an understanding as to why you're using 4.75 in your model? Like, what's your basis behind that?
Is you're right, and this one I didn't, I just finished doing the one here just recently, but the property taxes alone will be somewhere in the neighborhood of over $2, somewhere between $2 and $2.50 a square foot. And heating and lighting nowadays are running at about another a minimum of $2 a square foot to combine, $2 to $2.50. Then you got management, maintenance, all those things. I think the 375 is, I know they used it, and some other ones that I've argued against it. I just look at the actuals, and so my suggestion is 475 a foot.
Maybe we can, when we get to the assessor, we'll ask
Yeah,
him
yeah.
why he's using 375. And you said you were fine with the capitalization
Yes.
rate of 7. And you talked quite a bit about the remedial work. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, you indicate, I had questions on shortfall as well, because I've never seen anybody yet before argue for a higher shortfall. Actually, the first time you say, but that's okay.
Surprise.
The fact of the matter is, though, that you don't really like the place that's not rented out, so you're talking about how you have to reclaim these monies back for lost rent, that's what the shortfall's for. But you wouldn't be liking it, and you wouldn't be
Yeah.
necessarily, management usually charges a basis of rents coming in.
Income coming in.
So there wouldn't be a lost management fee because you're not getting rent coming in on that.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of wondering, the basis of your shortfall increase, which I can't follow.
Okay, well, I feel comfortable with
Okay, so
taxes,
you're asking for,
utilities,
you're asking for because you feel comfortable with
and
it?
insurance would be at least up around 450. Anyway, I'm not, it's a small amount overall, I'm not.
No, I understand, but it's, as I said, it's part of your calculation though.
Yes, no, I go
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, well, thank you. I have no other questions. So you go ahead with your evidence,
Would you like me to start from the beginning, I guess, or?
however you want to put your case, whatever you wish to.
Thank you. The roll number is 07022 657 000. The address is 780 Ellis Avenue, 1780 Ellis Avenue. The owner is Composite Holdings Limited. 2020 assessed value, based on the reference date of April 1st, 2018, is $1,682,000. The parcel use is an industrial warehouse. There are 2 buildings on the premise. The effective year built is 1957. The zoning is M1 manufacturing light. The land area is 59,963 square feet. And the leasable area is 23,280 square feet. With a land to plant area of 2.57. Before I continue with the rest of my brief, I do have a recommendation for this property. As I had a chance to inspect this property with Mr. Badger, and I know there's ongoing issues with the vacancy. So if you look, I actually have a work if you can see the actual.
Oh, if we could have that, that'd be nice, thanks. Mr. Badger, have you seen the recommendation yet?
No.
Okay, so you can let us know maybe if it's acceptable to you when you see it.
Basically, adjusted the vacancy from 15% to the 20%. I didn't have to adjust anything else in terms of the rent or the shortfall or expenses. So the one thing I had changed was the vacancy to 20%. So that's the one change I made, which revised the estimated market value to $1,510,000.
Okay? I don't think Mr.
No, I
Badger's accepted, so proceed.
Yeah, I'll just keep going. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look at page 2 of my brief, you'll see the request for, I already talked about the preliminary issue with the request for information. You'll see there are no recent sales in the subject property, as well as no property leases in place that I was unaware of. Page 3 of my brief is just some information regarding my rent comparables. My rent comparables, they range in ages of 1957 to 1967. The sizes range from 4,000 square feet to 6,000 square feet. The wall heights range from 12 feet to 16 feet. And the rents of the comparables range from $6.55 a square foot to $7.50 a square foot. And for this particular property, we are using $6.74 for the net rent, so this will show that our my comparables for my model rate we have applied to this property. Page 4 of my brief, the value I'll be speaking to now is the recommendation I have put forth. If you'll see below, you'll see the total leasable area at 23,280 square feet. You'll see the breakdown of the areas of the total leasable area, as well as the rent of $675, which is the total rent from all the premises. Applying the rent of $674 to the leasable area of 23,280 square feet, we get a potential rent of $157,057. We are applying 20% for vacancy, 2% for the non-recoverables, and $3.75 a square foot for shortfall, which gives us a net operating income of $117,733. We are applying a model capitalization rate of 7%, which gives us an overall estimated market value of $1,510,000. Page 5 of the brief is just another page in terms of the income value summary, again, pertaining to the recommendation I put forth. Page 6 of my brief is just some information about our capitalization rate. I don't know if you want to go into too much detail, because I know we agreed in the cap rate, we're not really disputing the cap rate.
I think that's fine, go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. Page 7 of my brief is just the information about the Municipal Assessment Act reserves. Page 8 of my brief, you'll just see some photos of the subject property. The front, you'll see the first page is the front of 17 Ellis where the bank used to be. Page 9 of my brief is you'll see the back portion of the front building, the front tenant there, the Robson Group there. And below at page 9 you'll see the Shaw's Auto Service below as well. Page 10 very, you'll just see an overhead view of the property, the subject property, and how it's the parcel and how the buildings relate to the subject property. Page 11 is just the parcel boundaries and the current assessed value. And page 12 is just a picture of the subject property map or just the property in relation to Berry Street and Ellis Avenue. Page 13 through 19, my brief is just some information about is the non-compliance information or the expense information, which I don't think we need to go into because we already
That's
discussed that. Page 20 of my brief is just information about how the department is taking a look at the non-recoverable expenses, which I'm sure the board is aware of the decision on that. And below page 20, just information about our cap rate evidence, we have some sample of cap rates to support our model. And page 22 of my brief, you'll see some information about the non-recoverable sampling again, which I stated, which I'm sure that I know the department is very, or the board is familiar with. Just sampling some non-recoverables we see, so we feel the 2% is adequate.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's my presentation, and I guess the board can confirm that I have recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Badger, if you have any questions to the assessor, you can ask them now.
No. Are these pictures like comparables? Or
No, that's the picture. That's those pictures of the subject property.
Okay.
Just to show the aerial view and street views of them.
I see, yeah, it was a little trickier compared to the, I didn't pick up on it, but anyways, you raised the rent from the model rent, huh?
$675. No, that was the model rent we had always applied to it.
No, but, and this, your workup of your proposal to me, you $775.
No, if you look down totals, you'll see $675 in bold. We're gonna see the total lease layer at $23,280. Then to the side, you'll see $675.
Yeah, but on that particular $675 on average across the board.
Yes.
You're suggesting that the auger dealership, the one with the no insulation and the rotten windows and everything is worth more than the front end of the building.
I believe that is
The 7,200 and the 47,600.
yeah, 7,200 is I believe the Robinson Group one, and the 40, I believe the 5320 is the front portion, I believe. Notes here again, just double check. Oh no, I believe we have the lease layer we have for the bank portion is 4760. Yes, we're using 775 for that one.
Sorry, which one is the bank?
The 4,760. And these are model rents, so.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions?
Ms. Davidson, do you have any questions to the assessor?
Yes, I have a question. So everything is modeled except for the changes you made to the vacancy?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
Okay, and just looking at your rent comps on page 3, I'm just noting that the leased area in your subject is 23,280, yet these are much smaller properties?
Yes, the reason I use that is because if you look if you look at page 4 of my brief, where in the recommendation, the lease of layers, I use the
Oh, I see where you're
yeah,
going.
because I'm using the comps to support the actual areas themselves, not just the overall. Because if it was just like one property where it was just 23,000 square feet, that's henceforth why I use the breakdown of the leasable areas. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so just one last question.
Sure.
For some of the issues that were noted with respect to the condition of the windows and the, results of the grow off and the roof, was that taken into account anywhere other than the vacancy?
for this one, no. I mean, I did not make any adjustments to the actual the model rates for that. No.
For the cap rate?
The cap rate, no. I did not make any. This is the model cap rate. I didn't make any adjustments to the cap rate because we were in agreement with the cap rate. From what I could tell from the brief side, I didn't make any adjustments to that. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Assessor, do you have any questions?
Yes, have you inspected this property?
I had yes.
And when did you inspect it?
I believe it was. I can't remember the exact date. It was the middle of January, so it was fairly recent.
Fairly
Sometime
recent.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably within like a couple weeks ago, 2-3
Couple
weeks ago. So.
And so with respect to that vacant property, which we heard was unoccupiable, what was the condition of it?
The one I thought, well, it was being used for storage. So in its current condition, it would I believe it would need some, some renovations to make it, usable as potentially maybe a new tenant moving in. But it was being used for the tenant, the auto ship dealership, or the auto remains business. It was being used for storage for theirs, so I don't believe it's completely unusable. Again, I don't know the specifics. Again, I don't know the condition.
And it was the bank portion that was used as the grow-up?
No, that was it's in the further back. If you look at actually, can I just
Yeah.
if you look at page 10 of my brief,
Yeah, that's great.
you'll see it where it says 591.
Yes.
That's where the grow up. That's where I understand where the grow up was in that portion of that building.
And remind me again, which building is that?
That would
That's the
be-
bank building.
No, the bank building is closer to Ellis, the 1780.
Okay.
That's the bank portion.
So this is the Shaw.
Yes,
the
that's
auto
correct.
part.
Yes.
And for the Shaw Auto, you've given it a rent of $496 for that portion.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And does that reflect the rent for this ex-grow-up that has?
Yeah, because we were I were reading our notes in our system. We were aware of the grow up. So yes, that's.
Okay, and did that grow-up affect any of the other parts of the building?
Not that I'm aware of, based on the section. I couldn't, I believe it was just that one portion, unless Mr. Badger can tell me differently, but.
Yeah, I did mention that back building was built in 2 stages, so it'd be self-contained.
Yeah.
Self-contained,
Yeah.
so it's really just that one piece of it. And you've given that the lowest part of the rent?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Okay. I think that's all. Oh, can you tell me about your 375 shortfall?
Yeah, the shortfall, it's a model generated shortfall, but we apply that to all properties throughout the city, because there are certain areas of the city that have no issues with vacancy, so we're just trying to be fair and provide all properties with some shortfall. So in a lot of cases, we still give again the vacancy, regardless if there's vacancy, we still provide that to be fair and knowledge to all property owners, so.
Okay, I don't have any questions, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Badger will make our decision and it'll be,
Do I get a chance to
if you'd like to sum up, I'd like to do so. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Quiet.
If you have a summation that you think that your case depends on, you can give it to us.
Yeah, okay, so there's basically 3 areas where I just see a difference in opinion or commentary. So anyways, on the rental rates, what I provided you were the actual rents in the front section and the back section. And those rates, because that's what people are actually paying, those would be more indicative of the current condition of the building. So I'm saying that you should really rely on the actual rents that we're obtaining right now within the premises rather than these model rents. Because they would take into account the exact conditions and location. The next thing I just want to mention, the vacancy side, like the building is 50% vacant. On the past assessment, it appears that we've been, and decisions have been allowed to use 25% vacancy factor from the last decision. And then the shortfall, I'll just repeat myself there. Like, I do a lot of work on the commercial side for buildings and management, see a lot of financial statements. I would say that in town, I would say right now, like even in the published reports, operating costs are in the neighborhood of $850 to $1050 for a building like this. But granted, if it's empty, it might be half of that. $375 is way too low. Like taxes alone are about $1.50 a foot in a building like this, and utilities. You see, if you cut half of them off there, it's another $1 a foot. Everybody has to pay insurance in your buildings. That's what 50 cents per square foot. And R&M, we have to clean this. It's still vacant, but we still have to clean the parking lots and cut the grass and things like that. And that's complex. So you're still looking at and run out there and fix these leaking roofs and stuff like that. That's $1 a square foot for R&M. So the $475 that I use, I believe is very fair.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you like to respond to that?
No, I think I'll just let the report rely on my evidence.
Okay, we'll look for your evidence, that's fine. Okay, Mr. Batchel, thank you very much. You call just to see. Okay, so the next property we're dealing with is at 740 Logan Avenue. Move forward.
Can you both be speaking?
I'm not sure if I'll have to, but just in case.
Okay, then you'll swear in. Yes, want to stand? Please state your name.
Bonnie Bergman.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Can you swear in? Please state your name.
Ian Balkane.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
No. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, what did you from
So I see that you have a recommendation on this property as well.
I do actually, yes.
And is the applicant aware of the,
I don't believe, I got a chance to speak to the applicant.
okay, so I don't know if you've got a copy of it with your information, because we've got it.
No, I don't even know what you're talking
Oh, I saw it.
about. Is there a reference?
Oh,
Oh,
okay, that's,
I'm sorry, this is the one
oh,
property.
I do actually have a recommendation though,
Oh,
however, so.
You know what,
There you go.
okay,
There you go.
I'm a clairvoyant.
You do it, yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Okay, if you'd like to pass them out then.
Okay, sure, I'll just get this, do you need me to read anything about the property first, like the roll number and like that? or-
Well, we'll just maybe extend this, that was up all the others, and I'll let you go forward with it.
So would you like me to just
Yes.
kind of read the recommendation or go for the brief, or how do you want to do this?
You know what, you can go over the normal way you do it, and when you get your your recommendation, deal with it as if it was your original
Okay, sure,
valuation.
just go through the whole thing. and-
Right.
Okay.
Because that's the only difference you've really made in your.
Yeah, it's just the, yeah, I just made an adjustment to the,
Right.
yeah, okay. Okay, the roll number is 13082382000. The address is 740 Logan Avenue. The owner is Davian Construction Limited. The 2020 assessed value based on the reference date of April 1st, 2018 is $911,000. Parcel use is an industrial warehouse. There are 4 buildings on the property. The effective year built is 1946. The wall heights range from 11 feet to 19 feet. The zoning is M1 manufacturing light. The land area is 12,905 square feet, with a leasable area of 17,725 square feet, and a land to plan area of 1.56. I would just maybe I think maybe I'll go into my recommendation, because my.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just go into my recommendation at this point. So if you look at page 4 of my brief, just kind of follow. So I have adjusted the rent we've applied initially of a model rent of $571. I have adjusted that to $4.90 a square foot, as I feel that's more, based on the area and the location and doing a little more research, I feel this rent better reflects the property in its current condition. So this gives us a adjusted potential rent of $86,853. We are applying 6% for vacancy, 2% for non-recoverables, as well as $375 per square foot for shortfall, which gives us a net operating income of $76,020. And we are applying a 9.8% for the capitalization rate, which gives us a estimated market value of $776,000. So that's the recommendation I put forward.
Okay. Now, you see the recommendation, is that acceptable to you?
No.
Okay, well, you'll proceed.
Yeah.
We got.
Not yet, not yet.
Oh.
I'm just saying if it was, we would maybe deal with it a different way, but we'll go ahead as if it was, it doesn't matter as it originally was. Okay, so proceed, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Page 5 of my brief is just information about the income value summary. Page 6 of my brief is just some information about the capitalization rate we have applied. You'll just see, like, do you want to go into much of the capitalization rate in this case, Harry, or, oh, yes, I have mainly next to the cap, so I'll just go for the cap, right, next to the cap evidence here now.
That's fine.
You'll see the 9.8% cap we have applied. If you look at the City of Winnipeg, April 1st, 2018 industrial, you'll see it's on the higher end. So again, based on the variables such as age, size, location, we feel this capitalization rate we applied is fair, indicative of this property in its current condition. So that's why we've applied this capitalization rate. Page 7 of my brief is just some information about the municipal assessment tax excerpts. Page 8 of my brief, you'll just see some photos of the subject property, the front portion of the property on Logan, and below you'll see another picture of the property. Page 9, you'll see a side portion of the property on Lulu Street, and above you'll see the overall area where the building's situated on the property on Logan Avenue. Page 10 of my brief, you'll just see some more photos of the subject property from different angles, which just show the buildings and the property. Page 11, you'll just see the parcel boundaries and the subject property maps and where the property is in relation to Logan and Lulu. Page 12 through 14, or through 15 is just information about the income expense manner information we requested that we had received. And again, page 16, I discussed just information about our look at our fresh look at assessments, as well as our cap rate evidence to support our model cap rate, and some information about the non-recoverable expense sampling on page 18. And 19 is just some information how we call it IWO standards. So that's my recommendation, and I have to work in my thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if you have any questions to the assessor, you can ask them now.
If I could understand them, I would, but they speak so bloody fast, I don't understand them.
Oh, sorry.
It's not your fault,
No.
that's the way it is.
No worries.
A lot of people don't understand me either. Except when I use F explicit, I understand that.
No, so if you have any questions, absolutely.
No, I
And
understand.
if there's anything you didn't hear, if you want it repeated, you can. do
No,
it.
no, that's speed, a waste of time, so.
Okay. Ms. Davidson, any questions to the assessment department?
I do have some questions on your rent comps
Sure.
on page 3.
Yes, these comps are support the initial,
Right.
so they don't, yeah, they're, I feel the 490 is the adjusted rent I made, so.
So you adjusted it to 490. Did you
Yes.
have any comparables that you actually looked at to
I
make
did,
that adjustment?
I do have them, but I don't have them in my brief, because I made this recommendation after I had submitted my brief, so.
Okay.
But based on other properties I was looking in the area, for again, this property, this age, location, wall heights, that's why I adjusted the rent, it's 490.
And the ones you chose to support your 490, were they also of the same vintage?
Yes.
This is 1914 to
They were in the same, kind of the same age, so they were roughly in that 1957 to 1960 range. Similar wall heights, 12 to 15 feet. And the rents, like I said, they ranged from like $4.50 all the way to about $5 in that range, so.
Okay, so have you inspected this property?
I have not inspected this particular property now.
Okay, and it's quite old, and you raised the issue of condition, like what are the major condition issues?
Again, I can't speak to the exact specifics, I didn't inspect the property. I'm just going by kind of, I was reading history of what we have from previous assessments and what other assessors had noted in our notes, so that's why I'm going by that. So unfortunately, I didn't inspect the property, so.
Okay, and given the age of the property and the wall height of 11 to 19 feet, is it laid out and, set up so that it is usable for more than the current ceiling suppliers? Like, is it modern enough for many uses?
Well, I mean, if you look at today's standards of new industrial buildings, it would be quite low, quite inadequate for let's say, depending on the type of business you're using, because some newer industrial buildings would be much higher wall heights, would be like 25, 30 in that range, depending on the use, so yes.
So the wall height is limiting, is there any other sort of factors like that are limiting as well?
The land plan area is quite low, so there's not really much room for expansion. It's very, like the whole building takes up the whole land area, so there really been not any room for excess land or surplus land, anything like that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Assessment, any questions?
No, my questions, comparables have been answered, thanks.
Thank you, and I don't have either, so you can go ahead with your evidence.
Well, we provided you each with a copy of an appraisal we had done months prior to this duplicate stuff coming into us.
The appraisal was originally set up in order for the property to be mortgaged due to financial despair that we have in the company itself. This building is fully owner occupied. Even though it appears to be 2 stories, it really isn't truly a 2-story building. It's kind of chopped up. It used to be a chicken slaughter plant, and there is still...
Processing plant.
Processing plant, sorry. And there's, you know, still the old furnace and everything in there. There's been no upgrades to the building over the last 20 years, just regular maintenance. The biggest thing ever done for it was it being painted. We still have the original boiler. We still have the original works inside. You know, rentable space is very limited, with a very, you know, small percentage available really for what the size of the building appears to be. The basement area of the building is only good for storage. There is nothing else that could ever run down there.
There's still the original processing stuff that was
In there.
used 50, 60 years ago, still in the basement.
Yeah. And the assessor mentioned that he looked at properties based between approximately 1950 and 57 in their age, but this building is older than that.
Which is over a century old. And it's
And-
cold storage. The one of the buildings is just
Yeah.
a metal shed.
Okay, anything else you want to,
We gave you appraisals, I think you've got copies of appraisals from Colliers.
an appraisal, or is there
Yeah.
another one here?
Yeah, well, that's what they assessed the value could be sold at best.
Well, you said it was done for mortgage purposes.
It was for mortgage purposes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm sure if I went to the bank with your appraisal, they would say, bye-bye. You use my appraisal before they do your appraisal. If I want to borrow money on it, if it's that valuable, I'll sell it to you for $650,000. And I'll move out by the end of March, okay?
Okay, so is that your evidence? Do you have anything else you want to bring forward? Is that,
There's no point.
open up for questions then? Do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm okay, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Nisbet, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, you spoke to the quality and age. So there's different buildings. So you said
Yeah.
one is a steel shed.
One's a storage, cold storage. that's
So
all.
it's not heated, no lighting,
No,
nothing?
nothing.
Or
That
lit?
would be in accordance with the pictures.
Okay, and what page am I looking at?
Just let me double
Okay.
check here. Okay, that would be page 9
Of your brief?
of the assessor's
Assessor's brief?
brief, yeah. You can see a building towards the back from Logan.
Okay,
It's a very low height and it's got a red door on it. You can
Right.
see it there. That entire piece is cold storage.
okay. All right, and then the other pieces?
Following that's directly attached to, that is just a loading dock area.
Where there's the 262?
Yes.
on? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
where
loading.
that is marked.
Uh-huh.
The next area over to that is really just a section that then drops down to the basement.
Okay,
And so it's storage and like I said, the basement is not usable for anything but storage. It doesn't even have appropriate lighting.
okay.
The offices themselves are in that main building forward. Is that a little?
Kind of where the 740 is?
Yeah, where the 740 is. The offices are on the top floor there.
Okay,
And underneath is just actually bits and pieces. There used to be elevators in there and different shafts. A lot of them run through that portion and are totally unusable
They're not
spaces.
operable, they're just used for storage.
Yeah,
okay.
they're unusable space.
And so which of the, says that the building was first constructed in 1914?
Yeah.
And which piece?
Was that this whole section?
I would suggest it would be the main floor and the warehouse space at the side there.
Where the 740 is?
Yeah.
Or where
Like, I
the
don't know the history of that
270
The
well.
Okay.
740 and the 270.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
original building, and then the
Right.
other pieces were added?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm guessing it was like that when we bought it 45 years ago.
Okay, okay.
Nothing's been changed, except the paint job.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you now.
Okay, so I'm looking at your appraisal. First of all, this was done, you said by your bank, or did you have a commission?
We had the commission.
You had a commission, not your bank.
No,
And but the reason you got it because you wanted to get more financing from your bank?
financing, you got an idea how much we could maybe borrow some
Okay,
money.
but so it wasn't the bank's appraiser, it was your appraiser?
No.
Because usually the bank, when they do a mortgage, they want their appraiser to appraise it.
Yeah.
It's not through a bank that we have to get the mortgage.
Okay, your mortgage right now is with the Bank of Montreal.
No,
No.
Okay, on title it says it is.
Well, good for
Oh,
that.
You
they
transferred
were
since
supposed to,
then?
they were supposed to remove that because they haven't been on title now for 2 years.
2 years.
So you have a clear title now?
I don't know.
Have you got a mortgage on the property? Because right now.
Yes,
Yeah, we have a
it's a
mortgage on it.
numbered company that
Numbered
has the mortgage, I'm sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay,
They're
and
called the mortgage architects.
so it was mortgaged in 2012 by the Montreal for $475,000.
That's not, that
Right.
doesn't exist.
But it was mortgaged in 2012
Yeah,
for
yes.
$475,000?
Yes, and it was,
And the appraisal you paid for, so it was done for your specifications. What did you ask the appraiser to do? Did you tell me you're looking for mortgage financing, or you tell me what to look for valuation?
What is the valuation on the property?
And you say what date you wanted it to be valued at?
650.
Do you say what date you
No,
wanted it to
date.
be valued at?
current, wasn't it, that you told them?
Yeah.
current date?
Because, you know, because we need a date that it is,
Well,
excuse me, we need a date of April the 1st, 2018 or before then, for this current situation.
Oh, I
So
see.
this is post-reference.
Okay,
So it's evidence that we're not really supposed to look at? Okay?
You're not supposed to look at that.
because it's after April the 1st.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that, sorry.
No, that's okay, that's okay.
Well, when
I'm
I
trying
brought-
to do the best of what we got, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
I
I'm not
understand, no, I don't know the protocol, I'm sorry. I'm getting educated today, I
Yeah.
must admit.
And so, I know the appraisals can be done, like when it's done by a bank, usually, they're usually moderate because the appraiser wants to make sure the bank is not gonna lose money if they foreclose. What did you tell the appraiser that you wanted when you got it done? Because it was your appraiser, you asked him
Yeah.
to appraise it
For the valuation for mortgages.
for mortgage purposes, but it was you though, so you wanted as high a mortgage as you could get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Definitely,
he'd probably
yes.
give you a high, okay. And he valued it, post-reference, I'll agree, but it's 690,000.
690,000,
Yep,
yeah.
okay.
Did I say something there?
Pardon? That's what it says. I'm
No,
only
you
re-
didn't. You didn't.
No. Okay, I think that's my question, Sam. Okay, thank you.
Thank you now. And it's for sale for 690,000 if you want to buy it.
But only for you,
Yeah, fair enough.
just teasing.
That's all good.
You want me to take it? I'll take that.
Will you swear in or affirm this afternoon? Please state your name. Do you affirm the evidence to present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, so the next property that we're dealing with is 532 Dobie Avenue, and I know you have an on-co-op on that one as well.
Yes, I do.
So if you want to do that first, you can, and, oh, maybe starting by reading in the roll number and the property and all that.
The roll number is 0204-124-8600. The address is 532 Dobie Avenue. The owner is Martin Neufeld. Do you want me to read the assessed value as well, or? Oh, sorry, I'll just continue that. And I'll just give the 2020 assessed value based on the reference date of April 1st, 2018 is $666,000. As you say, yes, we have a preliminary issue with the non-compliance. We had requested the income expense manner information from the property, and we did not received it. If you look on page 14 of my brief, you'll see the initial letter we get sent out, the cover letter. Pages 15 through 17 is the blank mailer. And if you look at page 18 and 19, you'll see the proof of mail delivery and tracking number. And so it was received, and we did not receive any mail information for this assessment. So we are asking the board to grant non-compliance.
Okay, so are you aware of that intelligence from you guys?
Yes, I guess the case was my father is elderly and getting sort of poor health, so he's been falling behind on his paperwork. And so he didn't do any of this, so I've got this done recently. So I did the questionnaire for 2017 and 2018. I did that online, and I have the forms that they print out. what's now.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it has to be done timely, so.
Yes,
now
yeah,
it's
I
not-
understand
yeah.
that, yeah.
So basically, the penalty is first of all, you've got to go first, and the onus shifts to you to show that the city assessment is not reasonable, whereas they've got to show ordinarily it's their, the prerogative is up to them to show that it is.
Okay.
And the second thing is that if you are successful in getting your assessment lowered today, it won't take effect until next year. Okay?
Okay,
Now, if you have anything other than to argue why we shouldn't grant the non-corporation, I'll hear it though. But, and if all you have is that you feel that everything obviously your father's sale didn't do it timely, if that's all the evidence you have, you can tell me that as well, obviously. Then we'll have to consider what we're gonna do.
okay, yeah, that's all basically I can say at this point, is that it hadn't been done on time, but it's done now. That's,
When in fact did you do it?
just when I realized, like we went for the reassessment, or when we were told that we were, I guess we did do it. So it's like like when we got the assessment, then we appealed it, and that's when
Okay, so
we
it's
realized.
fairly-
Yeah, so it's more recent than not.
Okay, I'm gonna just ask any of the panel members, I asked you a question already, if any
Okay.
others have any questions of you before we turn.
I actually don't. I was just looking and noticed that it was signed for on June 13th, that you had received it.
Okay.
I don't know if that was,
My father received it, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And-
he's a David Neufeld too.
Pardon me?
He's a David Neufeld.
No, Martin Neufeld is the owner,
Oh,
and David
okay.
Neufeld
And
is me.
it does say that, sorry.
And
So
I'm sort of taking over now and getting
Mhm.
things much more in
getting
order.
things
here,
back
so-
on track?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I have no questions.
I just have a quick question. So when you became aware that it wasn't responded to, when did you respond?
Oh, I've only responded in the last, like 2 weeks sort of thing,
Okay,
yeah, so.
all right.
I guess when I came to pick up, when I picked this up from the assessment department, that's when I realized, oh, that's how we didn't put any of that in, so it's kind of like, okay, that's the problem there, so.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Does he have questions?
No, I don't have.
Yeah, other than that, I have no.
Okay, well, we're gonna, if you both leave the room for a minute, we're gonna make our decision on this, and I'll call you back when you're ready. Okay, Ms. Neufeld, I'm gonna basically indicate that we have sympathy for your situation, and we do. Unfortunately, our hands are pretty well tied. There's very, very unusual circumstances where we can not agree with the city and not grant an operation when they've shown the basis for being entitled to it.
Okay,
And although we have sympathy for your situation, we can't grant it under these circumstances.
okay.
So you know what has to be done in the future, and
Yes,
I'm hoping that you will comply in the future because the penalties are significant,
mhm.
okay? And because of that, you've got to go first with your evidence, this will then respond.
I will go first with my evidence.
Yes?
Okay. But if you don't have any sympathy for my evidence here, then.
Well, no, the evidence we might have sympathy for it. I'm not saying, we've given the city the non-cooperation.
Okay,
But you can still establish that your assessment is too high, and we very well might agree with you and lower it. Now, if we do agree with that, the penalty is that it won't take effect till next year because of non-cooperation. But other than that, you'll still be, successful in that aspect,
okay.
okay?
All right. Basically, what the potential rent here is 45,300. Basically, what the city's doing is it's going by the income evaluation, and that's where the assessment comes from, correct? On page 4.
Yes.
Okay, so the potential rent he has 45,330, which is about I guess $6 per square foot. And I guess my 2017 one here is my operating income comes in at 31,573. That's what I have on the questionnaire that's been submitted. I guess like within the last week or so. So instead of the 45,330, the actual rental income is $31,573, which is about $4.18 per square foot. And that's been pretty consistent for the last, as I put in my evidence that I think it's been submitted already. So basically, the declared income of this property is approximately $30,000 for the last 3 years, so 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then using that cap rate, it's a different cap rate there. So that puts the building at approximately 375,000, as opposed to the 666,000 that they're proposing. So the income hasn't really changed in the last probably 4 or 5 years, and and this is like a 29.6% increase, where the income itself hasn't really increased at all. So I was just proposing that to leave the current value, the assessed current value of $514,000, and hopefully in the next few years or something, we can turn everything around and actually start getting close to the $45,000 that he is thinking that we should be getting on this property. And I do have the assessment or the questionnaires. I did multiple copies here.
Yeah,
but I don't know if you can.
No, that's fine, we don't need
Okay,
those.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Okay, well, we'll see the city, we may have some questions, and the assessor may have.
Okay,
And then he'll give his evidence, and you'll ask him questions as well.
okay, sure.
So do you have any questions?
So just a kind of a brief question. I was just curious, like I noticed in your evidence you said using a cap of 8.5%. I'm just wondering where did you why did you chose the 8.5% roughly, or?
That would probably have been off of another reassessment that he had, my father had years ago.
Okay.
So I think I had grabbed some of his old paperwork and just looked through an assessment that probably would have been 10 years ago
Okay.
on this property, and I think it was 8.5%.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's where it would have gotten from.
Okay, that's all the questions I have, so.
Is this what you have any questions?
That was my question too about the cap rate.
Yeah.
So this, but $4.18, is that, do you own this property first of all? It's not rented out, or it is?
It is rented out, yes.
Oh, it is,
Yes.
okay. And what is the actual rent per square foot that is being, as of 2018, April 1st?
That's 2018, April 1st.
Yeah.
Um,
Were you getting $4.18?
Yes, the figure that I used there is 31,000, what is, okay, this is 2017.
Okay.
I have the 2000.
No, that's good.
Well,
2017 is good.
oh, okay, because actually the 2018, there was some vacancy, so the value went down.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the
well,
actual rent you were getting from the property at the end of 2017 for the year was $31,573?
Yes, yes,
That's an actual number?
that's an actual number, yes.
Okay,
So that is $4.18 a foot, yes.
okay, okay.
I guess when we were charging, or when my father was charging the rent, that's including the insurance, and there was, there's only one water meter on it, so they included the water as well into that, and the property taxes. So the gross income was like $48,372, and then minus the insurance, water, and maintenance, and property taxes, for a net operating income of $31,573.
Oh, the net operating income was 31, that wasn't the total rent, that was the net operating income?
Yeah, that's the net operating income.
That's based on the submission that you're making to the city in 2017?
Yes.
Okay, and so,
So that comes up to the $4.18 per foot.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Davidson?
Just to clarify for myself, so there's 3 tenants in here now?
That's correct.
Okay, and does that mean it's fully occupied?
Yes, there's just 3 units on there.
And it's fully occupied?
Yes.
Okay, that's all my questions, thank you.
And in 2017, it was fully leased as well?
Yes.
And those were actual leases, you're saying that you were getting that net operating income from?
Yes.
You indicated?
Yeah.
And were they old leases, or was it well managed at the time, or are you managing it better now?
Yeah, we're gonna be managing it better now. Like I've just sort of started to take over it, so
Yeah.
he owns 4 other buildings, so he's been overwhelmed lately, well, the last like probably 3 or 4 years sort of thing.
Yes, so what I'm getting at though was, would 418 have been market rent, or would that have been rents from somebody who wasn't operating as efficiently as they could have been?
I would say he's not getting as much as he should be. Like, he hasn't had any increases in his rent for probably like 5 years. He hasn't really been keeping up with the leases or the current rates, the current market rate. So he should have been making more off it. Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of, well, a combination of both, I think. He had, it's just that he raised the rent too much on some of these people, they'll,
No, I understand. You
for
have-
him, he always thinks if you have a lower rate, then you won't have any vacancy. That's the way he looks at it as well, so.
And that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Although
when
it's-
like he could keep raising his rent, but then if people move out, then you have to get a new tenant, then you gotta renovate, and you gotta put more money into it.
Yeah.
So
It-
that's the way he looks at it. He'd rather, like, he's got good tenants now, so let's just try to keep them and keep them happy with a lower rate, but a steady rate.
Okay, so the 31,573, the net operating income that you had in 2017,
Yes.
did you deduct vacancy factor off of that amount to get to that amount?
No, there was no vacancies in 2017.
Okay, so that was the actual
That was the
operating
actual,
income
yes.
without vacancies. There weren't any vacancies because you're charging a lower rent, you usually don't
Yes.
get vacancies.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, you can go forward with your
Thank you,
comments.
Mr. Chairman. I'll continue to start from the property description, because I already mentioned the assessed values we currently have assessed at. The parcel use is an industrial warehouse building. It is one building on the premise. The effective year built is 1976. The wall heights are 15 feet. The zoning is M1 manufacturing light. The land area is 18,887 square feet, with a leasable area of 7,555 square feet, and a land plan area of 2.50. Before I continue with the rest of my presentation, I do have a recommendation on this property as well. I can just hand it out.
Yes, please.
Information I'll put forward. And if you want to follow on page 4 of my brief just to see what I made, I just adjusted the model cap rate we had used, because I feel the cap rate was a little low based on some of the attributes of the property again. Based on its age, wall height, its lower land to plan area, so I felt a 7.2. Where did I give you the wrong one? Sorry. Did I give you the wrong one?
It says 7.2.
Is that correct? Okay.
7.2,
Yes.
sure, yes.
Oh, here we go, sorry, I just pulled up my copy, so, 7.2, so that's why I've applied the adjustment to the capitalization rate, which gives us a new estimated market value of 592,000. I believe it's still higher than what Mr. Neufeld is looking for, so that's the recommendation I'm putting forward, so.
Okay.
Really think you can continue.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look below, on page 2 of my brief, you'll see there are no recent sales on the subject property, and there are no subject property leases in place that I have in my brief. Page 3 of my brief is just some information regarding my rent comparables. My comparables range from ages of 1974 to 1980. The sizes range from 1,750 square feet to 6,070 square feet. The wall heights range from 8 feet to 20 feet. And the net rents range from $5.75 a square foot to $6.75 a square foot. For this particular property, we are applying a model rent of $6. So I think the rent we have placed for our model falls within these parameters of the comparables I found the subject property. Page 4 of my brief is just a breakdown of my income valuation workup. again, it's been adjusted based on my recommendation. You'll see the total leasable areas of each of the premises, and then the total leasable area of 7,555 square feet. Applied at a rate of $6 a square foot, gives us a potential rent of 45,330 square feet, or $330. We are applying a 2.5% per vacancy, as well, which gives us an effective gross income of 44,197. We are applying 2% for non-recoverables and $3.75 a square foot for shortfall, which gives us a net operating income of 42,605. And we are applying, I'm applying a 7.2% cap rate for this property, which gives us revised estimated market value at $592,000. Page 5 of my brief is just another some information for the income value summary. Again, this is based on not the recommended value I put forth. Page 6 of my brief is just information about our cap rates. Our cap rates are based on, again, variables such as size, age, location. And if you look from the city of Winnipeg industrial, you'll see the April 1st, 2018, you'll see the 20th to 8th percentile, you'll see the cap rate at 5 to 7.2, all within the 20th to 8th percentile cap rates. So basically 60% or more of the cap rates we're finding in the market for properties of this would fall within that range. So we're within the range we have set forth. And if you look at Collier, CRB, E, and Cushman & Wakefield, you'll see the 7.2 cap is also supported. Page 7 of my brief is just some information about the Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. Page 8 of my brief, which you see some photos of the subject property. You'll see the side view of the property, some of the loading bay doors, and below you'll see the other side of the property. Page 9, you'll just see an overhead view of the subject property and where it's relation to the parcel line. Page 10 is just another view of the subject property from a different angle, just to show some of the loading bays and where it's situated on Jody Avenue. And page 11 is just an overhead view, just to show the parcel where it's situated on the property. Page 12 is just some information about the parcel boundaries as well as the current assessed value. And page 13 is just the subject property map where it's relation to Jody Avenue. Page 14 through 19 of my brief is just the, you can spend some other information which I already spoken to. And page 20 is just some information about the first look the apartment is taken, as well as some evidence to support our capitalization rates on page 21. And page 22 is just information again about the non-recoverables and how we feel the 3% is adequate. And page 23 is just some information about how our department follows the IAO standards.
Thank you. So you've got given questions to the assessment the evidence.
No, I don't.
Okay. Mrs. do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Mrs.?
Just a quick one, is everything model except your changed cap rate?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
So you made a recommendation. Will that recommendation take effect for the 2020 tax year?
Yes, it would be for, if we're granting.
Regardless of we granted non-qualified?
Yeah, we're just granted for the,
Okay.
the 1 year that we are, yes, yeah. So not for like the one year we would use the original assessment, but then the one that we are granted.
Oh, so,
yeah.
okay, so your recommendation will not take effect then until next year?
I believe that's, I believe that's the case. I was
just wondering because it was a recommendation, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question.
No, I always forget. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember 100%. I know, I could die, just unfortunately. I believe it is the second year. I believe it's the first year we're granted.
Because I think in fairness,
Yeah.
you know, if you make a recommendation because it was assessed too high to begin with, it's unfair that a person should have to wait a year for that if the assessment, you know, on their part. That's just my thought.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I can understand. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree too.
I see you would.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's what we were debating here in the first place, like, we're debating for
Yeah.
2020.
Well, that's something it's out of our control.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
city policy.
Mhm.
I think that the policy should be, but
Yeah,
unfortunately I don't make the city policy, so.
okay.
In my hands too. So.
And I was the assessor there, you know, we're governed by what's there, but
Yes.
it was a point of interest that I had, and
Mhm.
I think in fairness, I agree with the statement I made. Okay. Anyway, I guess that's the evidence then, and so you can leave and we'll get our decision now.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Okay, so the last property we have is 1560 Orange Street. And I guess you can take us through that quickly?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have a recommendation on it?
Yeah, actually, I actually do have a recommendation.
Okay.
So, all the properties. The roll number is 1300-123-0100. The address is 1560 Orange Street, and the owner is at Holding Corp. The 2020 assessed value based on the reference date of April 1st, 2018 is $458,000. Commercial use is in an industrial warehouse. There's one building on the premise. The effective year built is 1973, and the wall heights are 15 feet. The zoning is M3 manufacturing heavy, and the land area is 11,055 square feet, with a leasable area of 4,640 square feet, and a land to plan area of 2.38. As you mentioned, I do have a recommendation on this property as well, so I'll just hand this over. If you'd like to follow on my page 4 of my brief, just kind of follow
Sure.
what I originally had.
You can do that, thank you.
The adjustment I have made to this property is I made an adjustment to the rent. We were using a model rent of $6.24, and I applied a new revised rent of $5.61. I believe it's a rounding, I believe it was $5.60 originally. If you look on page 3 of my brief, my comparables, there were not many comparables I could find that would support I felt their model rent. I felt this 561 was more fair for this property. I do have some comparables that are higher, however, they're in better locations. So I felt this rent was a better rate for this particular property. So that being said, the revised market value is $410,000.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Ms. Vincent?
I do have a question. Looking at your original brief, you have a sale of September 11th, 2017
Yes.
for $475. Was that an arm's length
It
and
was-
just this property?
Yes, I looked into this, and it was between two related parties, so that's why we're not putting any significant weight on this particular property. As I did, there was a sales matter that we received, and
So it wasn't arm's length?
it was an arm's length, no, it was not.
Thank you.
Mrs., do you have any questions?
That was my question.
And I don't have any questions either. I did notice that. but-
Yeah, no, it was good. I would have went to that if I had, yeah, so.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.